Hey guys, it's Kristen and Bethany here with Girl Defined Ministries, and today we're actually going to be starting a brand new 4-part video series called Discover God's Vision for Love and Romance. And who doesn't want to discover God's vision for that, right? This is actually based off of our brand new book, Love Defined, and each part is going to be based off of a section of our book, and so we are so excited about this. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about seeing through the fairy tale facade. I remember when I was young, maybe like 11, 12, 13, I remember having this idea that I would grow up, meet my Prince Charming at age like 19, 20, 21, get married, ride off into the sunset, and live happily ever after. Like every movie ever was in my brain. Yes. Like that's my future. That's what I'm going to have. And I honestly thought it was coming true. And I shared this whole story in our book, Love Defined, but I was like maybe 19 when I met this guy and I thought I was falling in love. He seemed awesome. He thought I was awesome.
Thought he was the one.
He was like, seemed head over heels for me. He was pursuing me. I really liked him. And I thought I was going to marry this guy. And I turned 20 and I thought, woo, my fairy tale's coming true. Like everything I imagined as a young girl is literally coming true. Life is awesome. And then about, several months into the relationship, we hit some rocky patches. Things started coming out and it was just becoming clear slowly but surely that we weren't actually this match made in heaven as much as we both thought we were. And then a few months later, it started becoming really clear to both of us that we actually weren't a good fit for one another. The relationship ended and all of my dreams came crashing down.
I remember that.
Because like I said, I thought it was going to be this easy thing. I was going to fall in love, get married, and live happily ever after. And then here I am standing broken up with this guy. We're not in a relationship. And I just felt shattered. Like, what is my future? Can I ever love again? And I remember feeling that, like, can I ever love anyone again? Because it was so hard and so painful. And so for me, and I know you went through a heartbreak as well, we learned around the ages 18, 19, 20, that this fairy tale idea we have doesn't always come true, that love, romance, and relationships are often a lot more complicated than we think when we're young.
So we call this view that we had of relationships the fairy tale facade, because we grow up as young girls watching these fairy tales, reading these fairy tale books, and how do they always end? Happily ever after. And what's the foundation of these relationships? They're like, oh, she was a princess, or she was beautiful, he was strong and handsome, and they met and fell in love and rode off into the sunset, and life was perfect. And then you grow up and you're like, what in the world? That's not at all how it works out. Like, what? I don't know what to do. And, you have this mindset, even though you've learned other things, you've just believed deep in your heart that somehow it would just work out. And most of you probably know that it doesn't just work out. In a culture with around like a 50% divorce rate, it's like something isn't working. And so we call this the fairy tale facade, because just imagine a building that has construction behind it and they put a facade in front of it and you're like, oh, it's so beautiful. Look at that building. But then you peek behind the facade and it's a wreck. It's a disaster. It's not at all what it was made to be. And so sadly, we've learned that a lot of these fairy tales, these, movies that we see, they look so perfect. They seem so beautiful. The screen ends, the silver screen ends. But then you peek behind the scenes and you're like, wait a minute. It's, good looks aren't enough to carry through. Those strong feelings, that chemistry, it doesn't pull through. When times get rough, when times get hard, what then? What do we have to work with? And so we call this the fairy tale facade because it's this whole thing where we cannot define relationships, romance, however we want, and then expect them to just work out. God has a plan and we have to follow that. We can't just do relationships however we want. And so I want to share with you something from our book that helps describe this idea of the fairy tale facade. In chapter 2, if you get it, you'll be able to read this. It says, the fairy tale facade promotes the idea that we can completely ignore God's design for love, sex, and romance and still have lasting, satisfying results. It's the idea that Hollywood can define love according to its own terms and still create happily ever afters. It's the false belief that we can ignore the Creator's perfect plan for our lives and still achieve complete satisfaction apart from his design. Despite all the lofty promises the fairy tale facade offers, it's nothing more than a false front.
In our book, Love Defined, we actually ask some questions that we have used to examine our own hearts to really help us peek behind this facade and really see what's going on. So just listen to these questions and answer them in your heart and just kind of see where you land. If Hollywood's version of true love works so well in the movies, then why doesn't it work in real life? That's a real question that we need to ask and say, if this is what we're being shown, then why in real life are so many of us experiencing devastating relationships, divorces, breakups, and heartache? If adultery is portrayed as consequence-free in TV shows, then why is it incredibly painful in real life?
These are so important to
In the
think
movies,
through.
yeah, adulterous relationships are often portrayed as glamorous and following your heart, chasing after your
Fun.
true love,
Yeah.
and you don't see the consequences. But in real life, if you know anyone, your parents, if you personally, a friend has gone through adultery in their marriage, you know firsthand how absolutely painful and devastating it really is. Or how about this? If sex outside of marriage seems to bring such great satisfaction in chick flicks, then why does it leave us empty and needing more in real life? In the chick flicks, sex outside of marriage is common. It's happening everywhere these days.
Fun.
But in real life, if you've experienced that or know someone who has, down the road of that relationship, once the breakup happens or they move on, you often see the heartache and the pain that's experienced as a result. If one night stands are so fun and thrilling, then why do they leave us so miserable? And this may not be right away, but over time you watch and they really ultimately leave us empty and longing for something so much deeper, something so much more intimate. Or how about this last question? If lasting love is defined by two beautiful people falling in love, then why is divorce so rampant? This is a real question that we need answers to. If beautiful people, if that's all it takes is a handsome guy and a pretty girl and they fall in love and they have chemistry, then why are so many beautiful celebrities? Why are some of the most elite models and people that we would say, oh, they've got it all? Why are they going through multiple divorces, divorce after divorce? Something isn't working. We really want to challenge you, as we've really challenged ourselves with these questions, to ask yourself, wow, which of these lies, because they really are all lies, which of these lies am I believing? How am I buying into the fairy tale facade? Because I think we all buy into it
sure have.
without even realizing it. So asking, how am I buying into it? What am I believing about love that isn't true? What am I believing that I'm seeing in Hollywood that really isn't actually working out in real life, but I'm basing my hope and my goals and my lifestyle on this method? What am I believing? Really ask yourself those questions and examine what's true and what isn't.
The two of us want so much better for our love lives, and we want so much better for yours as well. And that's why we're creating this 4-part series, just to help us dig in, think a little deeper, just stop and evaluate, because this area, the love and romance area, is one that affects us so personally and so long term. And so we really want to dig deeper. And really, that's why we actually wrote this book. This book, Love Defined, Embracing God's Vision for Lasting Love and Satisfying Relationships. We know that this topic is so important and one that is on so many single women and women who are in relationships in their minds, and they have questions and they don't know what to do, their struggles. You get older and you're like, I don't have the answers. I don't know what to do. And so that's why we wrote this book, to hopefully help answer some of those questions, offer some direction, and really pull down that front, see behind the facade, and actually move forward in a direction that is Christ-centered, God-honoring, and full of answers from the actual creator of love and romance himself. We pull in so many verses to really help navigate this area of our lives.
We hope that you'll stick with us through this entire 4-part series. Today's video was really just digging into the problem, digging into all the issues and the struggles and saying why. Why are we facing this? There is a problem. We are believing lies. What lies are we believing? And then rejecting those and going in a better direction. So come back next week for part 2, for video 2, because we're going to be talking about embracing God's vision for love and romance. And we're going to be really unpacking from his word to talk about his vision, what it looks like, and how we as modern Christian women can live this out in our love lives today.
Thanks so much for watching today's video. If you liked it, give us a thumbs up. If you want to see more from us, you can subscribe to our channel below. We post new videos every Wednesday. And if you want to just keep up with us on a more regular basis, you can go to our blog, girldefined.com, where we have stuff that's posted regularly throughout the week. Or if you want to keep up even more regularly, check out our Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, all that stuff. Just Girl Defined. You can find us on all of those platforms. We also want to give you the first chapter of Love Defined, so you can dig in, you can see all of the chapter titles, you can see what you're going to get throughout the book, and you can literally read the entire first chapter for free. So I'll link that below. You can grab it right now.
I think I need to intro it a little more. It was the worst.
No, that was great. Forward.
And really ask ourselves, like, I don't know. We need to
Could be our future. We're both dork monks today.
Okay, 3, 2, 1.
In the middle, because I couldn't. 3, 2, 1.
In our book, which is what we're speaking from.
It's all the same flow. Okay, 3, 2, 1.
They will totally want that.
Okay.
I can't think. I know, it was like back to the crunchy one.
Yeah. If you're still watching our video up until this point, then we want to talk to you because we would so appreciate your support in linking arms with us and helping us continue to make these videos and produce this kind of content, because there really aren't like a ton of channels like this out on YouTube specifically, and we want to keep this one going. We want to help this content go further and wider on YouTube, but we need your support. There's actually an awesome platform called Patreon.com that we are a part of, and it really helps people like you to come alongside us and support us in really just small ways, whether it's $1, $2, $3, $4 per video, really just like small donations helping us to keep this channel going and continue what we're doing. So if you've been blessed, if you've been encouraged by the content that we've produced over here at Girl Define, we just want to ask you to join us, and you can do that by clicking the link below, patreon.com/girldefine.